episode 60, super excited. I'm here with my guy, one of my mentors, another one of my mentors, and some movers and shakers in Crittenden County. Come on, make some noise for Mr. Fred Leonard and Grandon Gray.
All right.
Yeah.
So glad to be here, man.
Absolutely.
No
you
doubt.
know, you could probably tell by our polos here that we got a lot going on, and this is going to be a great opportunity to talk about the upcoming hometown showdown. But you know, there's a lot that goes on not only behind the scenes, but just the ability to put on something like this that's not only an encouragement, but it's also a community builder, a morale builder. And I thought before we got into the hometown showdown, which we'll discuss, I thought for gentlemen like you both got a lot going on. Let's talk a little bit about leadership. And Mr. Fred, I'll start with you, my man.
All right.
Dude,
all right.
You know what? I don't want to say something, and I hope you're cool with this.
This off script, y'all.
Man, I remember when you moved in, I was one of your employees.
That's right.
Dude, do you remember when we were moving you into that apartment before you before you got your house?
Yes.
Hey.
Moved into that apartment. I didn't have a bed. I slept on an air mattress for 6 months.
Yes.
No microwave, no TV.
Dude.
Man, all I did was work out, go to the office and work extended hours, and then I found a church home and I was there.
Man,
That was it.
I actually tell that story because to me, when we think about leadership and movers and shakers, they don't see what goes on behind the scenes. They might see the finished product or what they think is the finished product. But
Right.
man, I think one of the best leadership principles is, man, they don't see the sacrifice that goes on. And I'll always remember that. That was cool. We were trying to get your couch in or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, major sacrifice. As you talk about leadership, that's one of the key things is making the sacrifices. That's of your time.
Yeah.
We all have families, children, wives.
Mm-hmm.
And so if your wives is supportive and you're able to go into the community and do things and just lead someone else. And when we talk about leadership, basically we're talking about trying to influence others to move in a direction that they wouldn't otherwise move into.
Go. Wow, That's powerful.
Yeah.
Man, I love that, and we're going to talk a little bit about, because since you've migrated to this community from Little Rock, and I know you got some other history, but man, you have constantly poured into to Crittenden County, West Memphis, which is amazing. And we're going to talk about some stuff you got coming up, but I want to jump to my boy Grandon, because my first encounter with Grandon was actually at your office at State Farm. So Grandon, man, tell us a little bit about all you do, man. You got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Mover and a shaker, a lot of leadership stuff. So tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah. So, and I appreciate the opportunity just to come on and be with you gentlemen, two guys that I definitely respect and look up to. And so, the beauty of what I do, I'm actually from Crittenden County. I was born and raised in West Memphis. And so I've always had chances to move away, go to different places, but for whatever reason, we've always stayed here. I think part of that had to do with I met a little girl that lived off of Grandon Road in Marion.
Bro.
And so that kind of changed the trajectory of things. But, I have this little saying, and hopefully there's a T-shirt coming soon. I'm a firm believer in the Delta has something to say.
Come on.
There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of ingenuity.
Yeah.
And so there's no place like the Arkansas Delta. And so, a lot of different things that I'm involved in. I'm not really going to go into that because that's not what this podcast is about. But I'm involved with a lot of different things. But the main thing is that whatever that I am involved in, I always pray about it.
Man,
I try to seek God first.
Dude. Wow.
I check in with my wife and make sure that we're aligned there. And then from there, I just make my mind up and try to find like-minded people, because an older gentleman told me a long time ago, those who live in silos die.
Wow.
And what that means is you can't do anything by yourself. I don't care how much, the limelight may be shined on one person. There's no way that one person can do it alone. And so that's one of the things that I believe in is the team approach.
Man, that's powerful.
Jeremy, if you don't mind, I want to just chime in.
Please.
You talk about when I moved here, actually moved to West Memphis from Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow, it was Nashville.
At that time, there was 80-some people a day moving to Nashville.
Wow.
And after being there for about a year, that number increased to 265 people a day.
Wow.
Moving to the city of Nashville.
Yeah.
So why would people always ask me, Fred, you moved from Nashville, Tennessee to West Memphis?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My answer to them is that God will send you places and ask you to do things that you don't quite understand.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And as we lived here for about 6 or 7 months, my wife, Janine, said, Fred, God didn't send us here for State Farm.
Come on. Wow.
State Farm is just an avenue that help us to
Right.
get to the things that where He wants us to be.
Yeah.
And since I've been here, I've seen a need for leadership.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so starting as the leadership class for Crittenden County at the West Memphis Chamber of Commerce, man, my 2017 graduate there. And I've been over that leadership class ever since.
Wow. I did not know that, man.
Yeah. So my purpose for being here is to provide some leadership within this community and to help others.
Yeah.
And that's what I do on a daily basis.
Man, it is. And, some people talk the talk, but you walk in the walk, both of you gentlemen are, and I appreciate it. That's very powerful. I actually got goosebumps just thinking about that, because
get your blanket. It's gonna be a lot of goosebump moments. So get your blanket out.
Exactly. Grab the popcorn. No.
Right.
But you brought up a very good point because, man, it's hard to stay. Living here is not the easiest.
It's not.
And I mean, there's a mentality that it's not just because it's hard to live here, but you have to understand, and I know y'all know this, that we're having to overcome mentalities and generational poverty and all kinds of things, man. So as we get into the Showdown discussion, I know that it's not just about a football game. It's not just about a get-together. It's not just about... But, man, it really is an opportunity for the community to come together. Man, I'm just encouraged by what y'all are saying, man. So.
We get experiences from places that we've lived before, our parents. All that is our makeup. And what you see from us is actually our DNA. It's in our DNA.
Exactly.
People ask me, why are you so involved in so many organizations and you're doing a whole lot of things? And I just tell them it's my DNA. My mom is 83 years old. She continues to be active in the community.
Yeah, and don't look 83.
Growing up, growing up, that's what she did.
Yeah.
And I was involved in that.
Wow.
I'll never forget it. We were doing a cleanup, beautification of West Memphis one day, and I was participating in that. And I got a picture mailed to me of my mom and my great uncle doing the exact same thing.
Wow.
Not on the same day,
Yeah.
but it was an article. And man, that gave me chill bumps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Saying you don't have to wait for a designated day to be active and to start giving back to the community, man. This is absolutely unbelievable.
We lived in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And we had to clean up. I'm the youngest of 5. We cleaned up the entire cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Because my mom said, and we're looking at our neighbors like, what about those kids?
Come on, man.
Right.
Wow.
So I can't control those kids.
Yeah.
But here's what we're going to do.
Man.
And make an impact in our own community.
And it is. Grandon, I want to ask you, man, because you got a unique gift of bringing people together. I see that. Not everybody has that.
Right.
And we got a wide array of people listening to this, but man, what for the young men out there specifically, what word of encouragement or piece of advice would you give to them? Because man, I think we got a lot of young guys out there who just need to hear from another man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I guess in some ways I would be qualified to speak to them because I actually have 2 sons that are young men. One, my oldest son, Grice, he's actually going to be turning 25 tomorrow.
Wow.
And then I have a little 7-year-old, so I guess I'm Father Abraham.
Come on.
So I have a 7-year-old in Gavin. And so, but yeah, I would say, I take lessons from my dad. My dad some of the folks that have been ingrained in Crittenden County know who my father is.
Wow.
My father's name is Hubert Gray, and so he was the first. He was the youngest and the first African American male to hold the office of county administrator for the Department of Human Services in Crittenden County.
Wow.
And so, he was born in Hughes, actually Chatfield. He was born in West Memphis, but he lived in Chatfield, which is right outside of Hughes. And so he was one of the first kids in his family to actually go to college. So he went to college at Western Michigan University there in Kalamazoo. And so, he's a Delta kid. And so a lot of lessons I took to him. I think it was back in 1977. I mean, he took that job, and at the time that office was located in Marion. And, just later on in life, he would tell me about some of the challenges that he came up against in that office, because, he was in a position and he was a person that didn't look like the majority.
Right.
But because of who he was and because of his integrity, he had the ability to win people over and build coalition. So I think, I guess the Bible said the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Man. So I guess I kind of took that from him. So I have to tip my hat to him with some of the, being able to see the positions and things that he was a part of and just kind of take that and put my own spin on it. So I think that's where that collaborative approach comes from.
Right.
But I will say that, I just try to model myself where other young men can look at that, and if they can glean anything from what I do, they can take it and use it for the positive.
Man, that just brought this thing full circle for me, because I'm thinking about just community and, bro, what a legacy you got, Grandon. Mm-hmm. Man, that is
yeah.
Man, that's awesome, dude, to know that your dad was history maker. Sometimes you got those pioneers that are just the first in a family, first in a generation to really push through and break through barriers. And
right.
Man, I'm inspired just hearing that about your dad. And
thank you.
So I see, as you said, the apple don't fall too far from the tree.
Right.
And talking about legacy, I think that's a good time to kind of segue into the culmination of what we've all been working toward. I know y'all have been working a lot harder than the volunteers, and it's an honor for us to be a part of that. But Mr. Fred, take our viewers back and briefly share what this whole hometown showdown. How did this whole thing happen, man? How did it get started? I want to hear all the tea, man.
So in order for you to hear all the things that you put emphasis on briefly, you're talking to a Baptist preacher.
Yeah, he heard a word about an hour
ago. So let me just take you back. So 2017, Grandon and I both are members of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity.
Yeah.
2017, when I moved here and joined the fraternity, Grandon happened to be the pole mark, which most people don't know what that means, but it's the president of our chapter.
Wow.
And so I kind of joined and laid out my criteria and the things that I've been involved in. Life member of the fraternity when I was in college.
I'm still trying to get to my life membership, by the way.
Wow.
Anyway.
What, you got to get beat in or what?
No. It's like it's about economics.
It's kind of writing a big check.
I got it. There it is.
Yeah, I saw the value in it early on. And so Grandon looked at the things that I was doing, I have done in my life, as it relates to the fraternity and just life in general. Yeah. And then he shared with me about this tailgate that the fraternity was doing.
Wow.
At the game with Marion and West Memphis. And so I shared with him something that I have done in Jonesboro, Arkansas, when I was first became an agent in Jonesboro. Yeah. And it's called the Showcase.
Okay.
And as I go back in the archives, West Memphis was one of the teams I invited to the Showcase in Jonesboro.
And they didn't show up? No.
They showed up. Okay. And back then, they were really good. They showed out.
Yeah, I know they did.
Yeah. But I thought that was really unique to be in West Memphis and have an opportunity to share with my fraternity brothers something that I started there in Jonesboro. And it was very successful. As of last year, it was still going on.
Wow.
So, and that was back in 2001.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm really proud of that. Now, that brings us to the Hometown Showdown. They were already doing it. I think the name was already there, the Hometown Showdown. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to add what I could. I'm pretty good at fundraising by nature. And so we went from raising $700 to whatever we raise now. So
wow, gotcha.
And it's about your networking, your connections and relationships.
Yeah.
Everything we do, we could not do what we do without the relationships that we have within the community.
That's right.
And the community support.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started. From visionaries. Grandon has a vision, I have a vision, and they just kind of mirror each other.
Yeah.
And so we took off and built this thing to where it is today.
Yeah.
It was just 2 or 3 of us, about 3 of us doing all the heavy lifting.
It was about, but I do want to add just one thing.
Yeah.
So just to kind of add to what Fred said, it was I think it was 2016, the year after the first time we did it, and back then it wasn't really kind of what it is today with everything. Yeah. And so I went to Michael Chesney with J.R.K. Printing.
Yeah, there he is.
My wife and Mike's wife were really good friends. They've known each other since they were like 5 years old.
Wow.
And I had become, familiar with Mike, and we were cool.
Yeah.
And so I just went to Mike and said, hey, man, I think we got something here. I know you do T-shirts and stuff. Like, I just want to maybe next time we do it, I just need a couple T-shirts.
Yeah.
And so Mike, surprising, everybody knows Mike. He's not he's not the talking type, but
right.
But when he sees something,
hey, that's the print man. I put on that video.
Print man,
Mike, the print man.
But Mike was like, man, you know what, Grant? I actually looked at what y'all did.
Wow.
I liked it. He said, you know what, man? I'm actually the person that actually coined the term Hometown Showdown.
Wow, dude.
And he said, I'm gonna allow you guys to not only take the name, but I'm gonna print your T-shirts. And so our goal was just to get about 5 or 6 sponsors to pay for everything, and then from there we just kept going.
Man.
So so I always had to, I call us the brain trust.
Come on.
I always have to, put Mike in there. He's not here tonight because he's at the print shop right now. We got a whole bunch of stuff he got to print out October 13th.
Yeah. Keep him busy.
It's interesting that you say the brain thrust, because as I went in my archives on the showcase, and looked at the article that was written, they said Fred Leonard is the brain trust. What? I mean, this stuff is kind of eerie.
And crazy. He didn't know it. What? He showed me the article, and I saw that, and that's where I took it from.
What? Dang.
Yeah.
Hey, isn't it amazing what can happen when you get the right people?
Man.
You remember what is the book about the bus we were reading?
The Energy Bus.
The Energy Bus.
By Ron, I think it's Ron Gordon.
Isn't it great though when you get the right people and the right seat on the right bus? Right. What can happen, man?
Right.
Yeah. That's exactly what's happening. There's a synergy that's taking place, man, and so that's history right there.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's right. And I'm so glad you remember reading that book. And in my agency, I try to focus on developing and empowering people.
Absolutely.
And my team. And so you were part of that team.
Absolutely.
And so hey, that makes me feel good.
I'm still part of your team, brother. Come on,
that's right. It's just in a different capacity.
That's it.
Yeah. We'll get to how you came. We'll get to that in a minute.
We still on team, man.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
That's what it's all about. And so, Grandon, obviously we understand why the event centers around the football game. How do you ensure the educational component isn't overlooked? How do you tie all that into the game and everything?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, we try to take a novel concept, which is a football game.
Yeah.
That's something that everybody can kind of wrap their minds around. So you have in Crittenden County, there are other schools, Earl School District, they're doing well. So not trying to knock anybody, but I do want to recognize Earl because they are doing a great job.
Awesome.
But, obviously you have West Memphis and you have Marion. And historically, those have been the 2 cornerstone school districts within our county. And so you also have our higher ed institution, which is ASU Mid-South.
Right,
so, and then we're all, like Fred and I are both on the foundation board. I know, Jeremy, you're actually employed by them.
Absolutely.
So, they do a lot of cool things with the school districts here in the county, all the concurrent classes and a lot of other professional development that's out there. So just from that standpoint, it just made a lot of sense. Like it's almost like the triangle. West Memphis, Marion, ASU, Mississippi.
Come on, man. Yeah.
Those are feeder schools.
Right.
So from that standpoint, trying to solidify that relationship, I think the other piece of the puzzle is, obviously, athletics, but these students are, these are still students.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
right.
most of the time when you look at your athletes, those are some of your best students because there's so much. There's so much structure.
Absolutely.
You can't go out here and practice and play games.
Right.
Do all of that. And, you still have to maintain a certain GPA. And so just historically, data shows that, those folks that are involved in extracurricular activities, athletics, are typically those that have the best grades.
That's it.
And then I think the other piece, and I'm going to give a shout out. No, she's not here, but I am going to shout her out, Dr. Tawana Smith.
Come on.
She's on our team, and, she's with the Athletes Nexus. And so one of the things that she does, she actually is doing some professional developments with both of the football teams around, making sure that they understand when you're having conversations, just the basic principles of how to have a conversation.
That's right.
How to interview, getting into the whole branding piece. I mean, that's big now with athletes with NIL 100%. And all of that. So we try to bring that piece to the puzzle with professional development, media days. So all of that stuff is a part of the Hometown Showdown, not just the game itself.
Yeah. Man, that's powerful.
All that's happening right here in the Delta.
Right here.
Yeah. So, I got a lot of moving parts in my life. A lot of people don't know that I was born in the Delta.
Wow. Yeah.
Warren, Arkansas. We get Warren Lumberjacks.
Come on, man. Hey.
So born in the Delta. My parents are from the Delta. Here's some names, some towns that you probably don't know of. Wow. Tiller, Arkansas.
Never heard of it. And I was born in West Memphis, man.
Tillar.
Tiller.
And Selma, not Alabama, but Selma. Arkansas is where my father was born at. So
Unreal.
Both deep in the Delta. So
what's the population of those towns?
let me count my cousins.
Wow. Like 2 houses in it.
Yeah, not very large at all.
Yeah.
Less than 100.
Wow.
And
they're tiny, man.
Both, yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Well,
Tiller may be a little larger. Selma is like a little community. It's not. Tiller is a municipality, but Monticello, not Monticello, but Selma isn't.
That's a trip, man. Well, I might have to look those up just see where they're at. But.
Well, when we finish here, I'll show you exactly where they are on the map.
That is a trip, man.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Fred, Grandon was talking about the educational component. How does this affect the business community? How do you think the Hometown Showdown, has an effect on Crittenden County business?
So here's the thing is that when you talk about education, it's so important. I think it's essential to the economics of our society, the jobs of our society.
Yeah.
It all kind of blends in together.
Right.
So if we have a quality education, then we have a better opportunity to grow a community.
Wow.
So I'm going to get there, but I have to share this. A lot of people may not know this, but I'm very proud of it. My parents didn't have a formal education.
Wow.
They grew up in the Delta.
Yeah.
My father, the oldest child, he had to go out on the farm and work and help his siblings and his family.
Yeah.
So he had a 5th grade education, but yet he was a business owner.
Wow.
In his
That's
life.
powerful, man.
And then my mom has an 8th grade education.
Yeah.
But she was a political activist.
Wow.
In Little Rock.
I never knew that aspect.
Yeah. So
Wow.
So education is so important. Yes, you can make it, but then my parents ensured that we all had an education. At least 5 kids would get a high school diploma. 3 out of 5 went on to get college degrees.
Good Lord, man.
That's how important it is. And when you talk about the business community, you're going to have a better workforce. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a better employee.
Wow.
And so it kind of rolls up that way.
Yeah.
It's all about economics, and everything that you do, it's about economics. And when you can put a better person in a position to be a better employee, then the business community is definitely going to surround themselves with that.
That's it.
And then just to have the businesses to rally and to support this cause,
it right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That tells me that their leadership and understanding of the dynamics is good, and that's where we need to be.
Yes.
Especially in a small town.
Yeah.
We talk about big industry, but the small businesses is very important.
Yeah.
in a small town.
And I'll add to that. And I can say this because I actually spoke with these folks this past week. So I I knew, but I really didn't know. There's a family-owned pharmacy in West Memphis called Quest Pharmacy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so they're actually one of our sponsors. And so, ironically, I was actually reaching out to one of the co-owners about something separate than the Showdown.
Right.
And so, just so it was like I was reaching out to him for one thing, and the next thing, I started talking to him about this. And then once I went by, just to meet him and then meet his wife, who is the pharmacist. Come to find out, he's really good friends with one of our committee members, Courtney Woodson, who owns I Would Fix It.
I Would Fix It, yeah.
And so my heart was just filled with joy.
Yeah.
Because I met quality people that were feeling a big need
Come on,
in
man.
Crittenden County around healthcare, making sure our elderly and just everyone, making sure that they have, the medications and things that they need. And then just to see how they're already connected to people that I know that are doing good work. So,
man, that's huge. That's huge. And
Great example. Yeah.
And I love how you said, the businesses rallying and creating awareness. And then, come on. I think the more our community knows about, not everybody knows what we have to offer here, even people that live here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good opportunity, not just for exposure, but for people finding out and being educated about, wow, our community really does have a lot to offer. And man, I know the anticipation is like we're almost at the height, at the peak of what's happening.
Yeah.
What can we expect, guys? October the 13th, Hamilton Schultz Field, West Memphis, Arkansas, with the JRK Printing Tailgate Party, and then the game, the Fred Leonard State Farm Hometown Showdown. What can we expect? What are you expecting? I want to hear about the ambiance, the energy, all of it.
Jeremy, you can expect to have a great time in a safe environment. It is going to be electrifying.
Did I hear something about a helicopter, man?
Helicopter. Just imagine a helicopter flying in and bringing in a family that sponsor our game ball.
Come on.
And just dropping them on the south end of the football field at Hamilton Schultz Stadium.
West Memphis. Man.
Yeah, and then to add to that, in the JR&K tailgate party, man, it is exactly what it's entitled.
Yeah,
a party.
It really is.
A party.
Yeah.
Communities coming together.
Yeah.
We're so polarized in this community in so many different ways, but here's an opportunity for everybody to get together and have a really good time.
That's it.
People ask me, so do I need to bring food? No, it's a tailgate experience.
Come on.
And all tailgate experiences, people want you to come up
That's
and
right.
taste of their food.
That's it.
An opportunity. We're going to have politicians out there.
Yeah,
You know, it's an opportunity for them to get to meet and greet and know some of the people within the community. Try to gain some voters and
Come
things
on.
of that nature.
Absolutely.
I'll be there with a tent myself as I'm running for state representative in District 63.
District 63.
The time is right.
Wow.
It is now. So people ask me, you got all these things on your plate, but here's the thing. I've been with State Farm for 29 years.
Wow.
And I traveled the country.
Yeah.
And now I'm in West Memphis, Arkansas, and I don't plan on leaving.
Come on, dude.
So I'm here. I can do a lot of the things that I always wanted to do.
Right.
And I'm just going to be an advocate for the people that I serve within the community and the state of Arkansas.
Come on, man. That's exciting.
I'm going back to the state capitol.
Come.
I used to fish on the lawn at the state capitol because Game and Fish building was right next door to it, and they had a stock pond. I can remember those days as a kid.
That is a trip, man.
It is.
And now you going back, you want a seat.
That's
Come
right.
on,
I
man.
want a seat at the table.
Come on, man.
And that's part of the leadership. If you don't have a seat at the table, how would you ever know what's going on?
That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And everybody can't have that seat.
That's right.
I think I'm positioned for that seat. I've had the great experience in corporate America, dealing with different people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it.
Come on, man. Congratulations. I know you put in the work, the time, and the time is right.
That's
so
right.
Good for you,
All
man.
the grassroots organizations, been director of a nonprofit organization, working for Youth Home Incorporated.
Wow.
I've done a lot of work.
Come on.
And now it's just taking it to another platform, another level where I can help the people. in a different format.
That's awesome. And I think the Showdown is a perfect representation of what it means to be for the community. Grandon, come on, man. The 13th. Give me some info, man. What's it going to be?
I know. I guess, since you Friday the 13th, there's nothing going to be scary about this situation.
Right.
All I can say is we've been blessed just to kind of watch this thing grow. I think it's one of those things where we don't have to sell it anymore.
Exactly.
I could just tell everybody just to, go ahead and put your time off work or do half a day or whatever you need to do.
Right.
Tailgate, the JRK printing tailgate party starts at 4:30. It'll go until 6:45. And then obviously the Fred Leonard State Farm Hometown Showdown, a.k.a. the game, starts at 7. We got a special guest DJ this year. We got
that's big.
DJ Derek. He is the official. I'm going to say this one more time. Look in the camera.
Come on.
The official DJ of the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Come on.
So we may be calling the Hogs out there at the stadium. And matter of fact, I need to call a couple of Hog players that actually are from West Memphis. Darius Howard, you're one of them. I need to hit you up. Make sure you come back home. Tell all your former teammates that they ain't got nothing going on Friday night. They can come down. Matter of fact, the Arkansas plays Alabama, so you can come down on Friday tailgate, and then you can get on the road and go on down to Tuscaloosa.
Support the
Hogs. The next day, so we can make it work.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah, and so that's maybe a challenge calling the Hogs. I know we should have enough Arkansas Razorback fans within the tailgate area where you're going to have some Ole Miss Rebels. And that's how
you may have a couple Georgia Bulldogs too, but I'm not gonna get into that. But hey, I want before we get off, at least I get off. I do want to say,
you
Jeremy,
can't go anywhere.
Well, I'm not, but before he cuts it off, I do want to say thank you to Jeremy. And so it's funny how you talk about everything coming full circle. I remember one of the first times when I walked into his office there on Missouri Street, and you were there, and it was just something about you that I saw was very infectious.
Wow.
And so you had a heart for people. More importantly, you had a heart of God. I saw a lot of David in you.
Wow,
in terms of just that heart. And so, so it was just
speaking now, brother.
And we're always thinking about what can we do to push this thing to another level. And so I was just kind of thinking one day, and then God just put it in my spirit. Said, hey, call Jeremy.
Come on,
and talk to him. And because I had seen some of your podcasts, the work that you and your wife are doing, everything you're doing at Victory Church, obviously.
Yes.
And I just said, you know what, we got a platform. He has a platform. Let's try to see if we can make it work. And I know I probably hit you with a lot of obscure things that you probably couldn't see at the time, but I just appreciate the faith that you had just in the vision. So
absolutely.
I just want to say thank you for what you're doing and what we're going to do.
Man, so. It's a pleasure. And, Fred is Fred's one of my mentors. I'll say that from the get-go. I've always counted him as one of my mentors, business owner, leadership, man of God. And now, Grandon, just saying our history there and getting to know you through this experience, man, I'm putting you in that same category, man. And that's what it takes, men with integrity.
That's right.
Yeah. Who aren't perfect, but who going to do what they can do. Right. And more importantly, they're going to rely on God in all their endeavor. So, gentlemen, it's a pleasure of mine. I'm excited. Not only for the Showdown, but for what we're going to do even after the Showdown and the upcoming years. It's going to get bigger and better, baby.
Hey, we ain't stopping.
Come on,
we ain't stopping. Shout out. Hey, I got to send a shout out to El Capitan, a.k.a. Mike Chesney. I know you still at the
Mighty Mike,
a.k.a. the print guy. I know you still at the print shop. We ain't forgot about you. We may do some CGI magic and put you in here somewhere.
we might do something.
Yeah, I want to thank you also, Jeremy. You mean so much to me. We've spent so much time together, serving as a mentor and mentee. Yeah. As a mentor, you learn so much from your mentees.
Yeah.
And so I've learned a lot from you as well. DJ Rocket.
Come on,
DJ Rocket.
As you talk, you learn similarities. We were talking, we're both men of God.
Yeah.
I used to DJ.
Yeah.
I pretended like I could.
Look.
I mean, it was, we talked about those days. And
our families.
DJ?
Our families had a lot of similarities, like our parents with the education.
Mm-hmm.
My parents, too. My dad and mom chopped cotton. the very young age, had no education. Like there's a lot of stuff there, man.
That's right. So it's just so exciting. Thank you for doing what you do.
Yes,
Junto, just like Soto.
Come on, man. That's it.
Junto
I'm glad
podcast.
you said it. Now it's etched in my brain.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so thank you very much for you and your family and coming aboard and helping us out, and also being a part of the team, your family.
That's it. Well, thank you both, gentlemen. We are inviting you again, October 13th. You got the details. It's going to be a great time. Come join us. I'm going to be doing a pregame show at 4:30. So that'll be streamed on the Hometown Showdown Facebook page and my podcast page. So
is that the Fred Leonard State Farm Hometown
Yes,
Showdown?
sir. It is not only the Hometown Showdown, but the Fred Leonard. Come on. You can see it. I got you on the screen too, man. The Fred Leonard Hometown Showdown. Come on.
All right. Yeah. So Fred Leonard State Farm Hometown Showdown. Be there. Be square, baby.
That's it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time on the Junto Podcast. Be blessed.